Yes, indeed. And everyone needs motivation, especially on a Monday. With us this morning, we have Oluwaseyi Durojaiye. Now, he's into human capacity development, and he uses coaching, psychotherapy, corporate trainings, inspirational speakings as a tool to help people achieve goals, especially with his clients. Now, we're going to be talking about building the right behavior for success in times like this. It's time for the motivation segment. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Titi.
All right, so behavior is a word that I think my parents used to use when they were trying to, chastise me. Which kind of behavior is this? And I don't think I ever really got to open a dictionary and figure out what the definition of behavior actually is. It was just what my parents told me I was doing wrong that I associated with behavior. But from your expert level, please explain what behavior actually means.
All right, thank you so much. Well, behavior is all that we do.
Okay.
It's everything we do every day of, every day of our life. And what we all think behavior is what people see.
Okay.
And it's okay because as human, it's what we see that we can identify with. But behavior is much more than what we can only see. It also, in psychology, we say there are two types. We have the overt behavior. That is what we see. And that's what everybody see. And that's what you talk. If you want to talk about your friend, you say, oh, that lady has this kind of behavior. She's saucy. She's this, she's that. You describe somebody in a certain way by the things the person does. That's this person's behavior.
Okay.
But there's another type of behavior, what we call the covert behavior. That's the one we do not see. So there are behaviors that we do not see with our eyes, and there are ones we see with our eyes. But the ones we do not see, as a matter of fact, are the ones that affect the ones we do see.
Okay.
So everything we do, and it's so important that, what I need to say this, that a lot of people don't even know that every day of our lives, what the stage we are in our life today has been determined or is determined by our behavior.
Okay.
Everything we do every day has brought us to where we are. And where you're going to be tomorrow is also determined by your behavior. It's not just about your skill set. You could be technically good at something and yet not attain the success required.
Okay. Okay.
Your behavior can put a limit to how far you go. And that's why this topic is so important, talking about what behavior, and for success in life, there is a behavior that is associated with success. There are behaviors that will limit you and not make you to attain the success you require in life.
Okay, so how can I compare behavior with habits? Because there are some things that we do every day that become our habits, and we've often been told that what you do habitually becomes your lifestyle. So what's the difference between habits and behavior?
Fantastic. Your habit eventually becomes your behavior.
Okay, fantastic.
Because habit is what you do every other day. And every other day is what people will judge as your behavior. And they said for you to build an habit, it takes you 21 days.
Okay.
So I think we're going to talk about that maybe next week. You can build a behavior, a new habit, a new life, a new lifestyle.
Wow.
In 21 days.
Amazing.
Now, I hear people say that sometimes that I can't change my behavior. I have this behavior. I just can't help being saucy. I just can't help being this and that. It is not true.
Okay.
Every behavior that anybody exhibits, it is actually learned.
So let's talk about the behavior or behavioral patterns people need to learn to achieve success. So there are I think I've seen quite a few books. There's one titled Habits of Every Successful Person. I think 21 Habits for Successful People and things like that. I've seen so many self-help books like that. But do you have any pointers for someone watching right now?
Okay. Let me say this first, then I will come to that.
Okay.
Every behavior that you need for success, like we want to mention, there are things you can learn.
Okay.
There is nothing you require as regards behavior that you cannot acquire.
Okay.
Now, I want to, before I even go, because a lot of people know about, I need to be this, I need to be that. But I've realized in the course of my training that it's not enough for you to know that I need to be optimistic in life.
Okay.
I could list all of those things, but it doesn't help people. It's important for people to understand that you can build any right behavior you need to build.
Okay.
Whatever behavior you have right now or acts that you exhibit that is not helping you, you can undo them. You can acquire a new one because everything is actually learned, and you can unlearn them. There's a quote by Robert Ellis. It says, if I continue to do the things, if I continue to think the way I always think, I'll continue to act the way I always act. If I continue to act the way I always act, I'll always get what I always gotten. In other words, why you are where you are, why you are getting what you are getting, is because of the way you are thinking. And that takes me to answer part of your question. Your thought process is one of the principal tools that generates your behavior. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's a covert behavior and there's an overt behavior. There is a behavior that we see and one that we don't see. And at the bottom of the behavior, of all our behaviors, and that's to answer your question, is the way we think. Now, your thinking affects your emotions. Your emotion determines your behavior. And your behavior determines your success. Now, whatever, every other point you want to mention, what you need to do, be optimistic, be that, everything lies at that root.
Which is your thinking.
Which is your thinking. If you want to change your behavior, if you want to attain a success, the first thing you need to deal with, the first thing you need to focus on is your thought. That is the part that we do not see. That is the part we do not, oftentimes look at. But that is what actually determines our behavior in life. That is what actually determines our success. And that's the part we don't see. So, there's a saying that I have that every behavior is an adaptation of emotion. I say that again. Every behavior is an adaptation of emotion. In other words, any behavior that you exhibit right now or you want to exhibit, there is an emotion that is funding it.
And that emotion, of course, could be driven by your situation in life or wherever you find yourself. Something that happened in your workplace could have affected your mindset. Absolutely. You might have to take that back and make some changes. Thank you so much, Mr. Durojaiye, for coming to talk to us.
Thank you so
much.
And
we hope to have you again next week. If you have any questions for him, just hit us up on social media. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC, and he'll help answer some of your questions. We have to take a quick break now, but there's still so much more on Wake Up Nigeria.